I was like, all right, I give us till May until robots take over the world. But like, what am I gonna do? Sit around and wait for that to happen? Like, no, let me use it while I can. Everybody who works and operates in the digital space is, everything they do is getting transformed with this AI stuff. You know, I own a digital marketing company, so we've been building websites and running ads and stuff for 10 years. And everything that we do on computers is being done with AI or through AI now. But the construction world is slower to adopt this. You know, as a builder building things in the real world, like there isn't an AI that can frame a house yet. But there will be one of these days. There's going to be robots building stuff before you know it. But there's a lot of things in a construction business where AI can help now. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So I think if we back up a little bit and just think about what is the AI, what is it doing? Like the AI is it's kind of like an intelligence. That's why they call it artificial intelligence. But all it does is like read or look at some data and then take data as an input and then give you an output. And so the reason why it's transforming everything in the digital space is because the digital data is already accessible by AI. Anything on a computer can be read by AI, and therefore that is developing really rapidly. But building is much slower. If for example, you had been wearing a GoPro on you for the last 20 years for every job that you've ever done, and you had this database or this hard drive full of all of this video, then you could feed all that video to an AI model and it would be able to replicate a lot of what you do. But not very many people have done that. There's a lot of people, I bet, doing it right now, but that data just doesn't exist. But like practical ways to use it in a construction company, like one of my favorite examples is for estimating. So I was doing this before AI, but when I would go estimate a project and I'd go to someone's house, I would ask them right away, like, hey, is it okay if I record a video of this just so that I have it and I don't forget anything? And they always say yes. And so I would turn the video on and I would just like hold it against my chest and I would carry on. I would go take measurements. I would talk to the person. I would make sure I got video of everything. And so every project always started with that video, and that gave me the before pictures. It gave me a perfect record of everything we had talked about. And after doing it a few times, I learned that if I ask the right questions and, you know, talk about the right things in that video, that I didn't have to take as many notes and I didn't have to remember as many things because I had a record of it. And so that was pre-AI, but with AI, that unlocks a whole lot of things because you can go in and now you've got video and pictures, which AI can read now, and you've got a transcript of the entire conversation that you had with a customer, and you can take the text of that transcript and give it to AI and then use it as like a second brain for when you're doing the estimate. You know, maybe you use it to, if you're using a spreadsheet, you use it to get the initial estimate down. And then you go in and you tweak it yourself. And then you show the AI and you say, did I forget anything? And the AI can look back at the conversation that you had and be like, oh, well, they said that they wanted this kind of countertop. It's like, oh, okay, good. Like those are examples of how you can use it as a contractor. And the key is that you just need to like digitalize whatever data, like whatever's happening. If you have a digital record of everything that's happening at your company, then theoretically the AI could see all of it. And that's what I talked about in my last video is I have a database where I pipe in the data from my calendar, from my email, from my project management software, from my CRM, from all the Zoom calls that I do, all those transcripts. So I bring all of that information together and then I can give an AI access to it and ask it questions, and it's able to go, you know, come up with answers and scour through data faster than any human could. And it helps me a little bit, but I'm still just figuring out, like, what does this even mean? This is like a whole new world. It's a whole new skill set. Anybody like me who's trying to implement it and learn how to use it, we're all on the frontier of this stuff. So nobody really knows what what to do with it, but we're trying to figure it out. And if you're trying to figure it out too, that's one of the first steps is getting mindful of the data at your company and organizing it and putting it in forms that are digital that AI can access. And I always think of like photography or videography. Like when I started this YouTube channel, it was because I bought a camera and I started using it, and I was taking a whole lot of pictures, making videos. And very quickly I discovered how difficult it is to keep all of that stuff organized. You have all these folders with all these different pictures in them, and you have to label them and you have to keep them organized. And this is the similar problem as the data at your business or even in your life, is like, how do you keep it all organized? And AI can help you with that. But on the same token, AI it's kind of like a mirror. If your data is unorganized and inaccurate, then the AI's outputs to you are going to be disorganized and inaccurate. So it's a whole new skill set that most people have just never had to deal with, especially in the construction world when you're working in the physical world all the time. Maybe you have a notebook and you take some pictures of your projects, but other than that, like, everything happens and you're left with the finished product. That's the evidence. But there isn't a digital paper trail of everything that happened unless you go out of your way to do that. And I think that will be the future, is having a digital paper trail of everything that's going on at your business, and that will be how all businesses operate. There's even some company that came out a couple of years ago where they have this little like square necklace thing that you're supposed to wear all day, every day, and it just records the audio of everything that happens around you. And the idea is it's like a log of your entire life, and you can feed it to AI, and AI can help you. It didn't really catch on, at least yet, but I think that's the way things are going. Like it's all data, and in the construction world, if you start thinking about this now, like, you're going to be early in just figuring out how to create a digital paper trail of everything you're doing and get organized with it. It's going to unlock a ton of things for you a lot faster than everyone else. And if you sleep on this stuff and you don't do any of it, in a few years, you're going to notice some of your competitors just pull ahead of everybody because they're starting to do this now. So start thinking about the data, start thinking about how to digitize the things that are happening at your company. The estimate is a really easy place to start. A lot of companies out there are already doing a lot of this stuff, like the bigger HVAC, plumbing companies, people running like a fleet of vans. They've already had to digitalize a lot of this stuff. But for the small contractor who's more old school, is a whole new world, and something to start thinking about.
I came across this article, a really brief guide to artificial intelligence for construction contractors. They lay down how artificial intelligence can affect each stage of a construction project lifecycle. And I wanted to get your thoughts, if you've heard of any of this software, or just like, what do you think of this? Because obviously this stuff is starting to become more mainstream. There's software out there that is currently utilizing AI.
Sure. I was just saying this to a client this morning. We were on a call, and I asked her if she'd ever used ChatGPT, and she said, "Oh no, I'm scared of that. I don't want to use that." And I think a lot of people have. There's a lot of different reasons, but people are avoiding this technology, and I think that is a gigantic mistake, because you don't have to be an expert at it, but you learn a lot about how it works and what it can do just by using it. And I would say that I use ChatGPT at least once a day. Sometimes I'll use it for hours on end to complete some kind of project, but I have a really intuitive understanding of how these large language models work. And so that allows me to have a better idea of what I can do with them. And all of these AI technologies, they're using the same principles. And the people who understand this stuff are going to be the ones utilizing it in the coming months and years. And anyone who doesn't understand it is running the risk of losing their job, because they're going to be like 10 people will be replaced by one guy who knows how to use the AI. And so all of these tools, like I'm looking through that list and I saw Autodesk on there. And just from using ChatGPT a whole bunch and thinking about how can I, like, how would I use something like this for Autodesk? You know, I have some frameworks in mind of how you will soon be able to interface with Autodesk verbally. And we'll be looking at the screen and it will have, like, it might highlight certain elements in different colors, and then you'll say, hey, element purple, change that to this many feet. And
that's crazy.
You'll just go back and forth, and the computer, the AI, will be making the changes, and you'll be watching it and giving it direction. But you have to kind of understand how these models work in order to get the most use out of them. So my biggest thing I could possibly say is, like, everybody who's putting it off, like, go spend $20 on ChatGPT, get the app on your phone. It's got an amazing voice to text, and just start talking to it. Start, like, next time you go to do an estimate, hit the voice to text button and just talk through the project that you're estimating. And you will be amazed at how fast it can help you do it. And it can help you fill in the blanks. You can say, hey, what are some things that I might have missed? And it'll just help you. Like, I did a video not too long ago where I just did a quick demo of some kind of remodel, and I was able to create a framework for an estimate in a matter of minutes that would take a new person who hasn't done a lot of estimates, it would take them many hours to put that together. And then you run the risk of forgetting certain things. And, you know, we all know that if you give someone a bid and you forget a major component, like, could lead to some serious issues. So having these kind of tools that are that easy and accessible and cheap to help you operate at a 10 times higher level, like, I think you're missing the boat if you're not using them. Like, forget whatever reasons you have for avoiding it. It's going to happen with or without you. So make sure that it's with you.
I have 2 really good tips for anyone who is going to take your advice and actually try it out. Most people, when they jump into ChatGPT, they expect the world, and then they also don't really give it any instructions. So they'll put in something like, let's just say, hey, create me a construction plan and estimate for this job based on da 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 da. And then when it doesn't come back perfect, they're like, oh, this is stupid. You know, this software sucks. AI is nowhere near where, like, being useful yet. And they just dismiss it. So 2 things. 1, lower your expectations a little bit. Treat it like you would a virtual assistant, or, you know, just you've got, like, this little virtual assistant in your pocket who doesn't know everything about the entire world. And this is where the context comes in, is you can't just say something like, create me a construction plan for blah, blah, blah. Like, would you be able to tell that to an employee and get a good result? Now, would you be able to tell that to a brand new employee and get a good result? And so that's how I try to think of it, is like, if I was going to instruct a human being, like, would they have any idea what I wanted them to do, or would they come back with some garbage? Give it good examples, give it bad examples. Like, I was talking to Patrick about this for writing articles the other day. He said he wasn't really happy with the way it was writing articles for him. And I said, feed it 50 good examples and feed it 50 bad examples, and, like, see what it does. And it'll probably come out with a really good result, because that's typically what I do when I'm writing content. It could be the same thing for estimates. In theory, you could feed it 50 good estimates, tell it why they're good, and then feed it 50 bad estimates and tell them why these are bad. And then ask it to build an estimate. It's going to do 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could probably do that with 3 good and 3 bad examples.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it simple. But yeah, you got to train it just like you train a human. You have to give it enough context so it actually knows what the heck you're talking about. It's not like this all-seeing eye that is perfect and knows more than you. It's it's a tool that we need to feed.
That's kind of what I was saying about, like, it's important to use it and you kind of learn how it works. Like, the way that I view using ChatGPT now is like sculpting out of clay. It's like the first time I try to make a clay pot, it turns out horrible, and most of the time I'll just scrap it and start over. And that's exactly what I do with ChatGPT. I'll give it some instructions. It'll give me an output. I'll note what was wrong with that output, because what you learn when you use it is that it's the instructions you give it is what it's working with. And so the results you get are highly based on the instructions that you give it. And every time you do an iteration, you adjust your instructions, and what you get hopefully gets a little closer to what you want. And so just like making a clay pot, once you've made 100 clay pots, once you've used ChatGPT to do 100 projects, you get a lot faster at getting to that point where you're getting the output that you want. It's a skill. It's not the AI. The AI is just a tool. You put in something, you get out something. It's your ability to give instructions and really clearly communicate exactly what you want and what you don't want. That is the secret. And there's no way to learn this in a blog article or on a Udemy course. Like, you learn it by doing it thousands of times, just like any other skill. It's a skill. It's not a piece of information you just learn. So the only way to learn it is to practice.
Yep. That actually reminds me of another tip, is to remember that it's conversational. It's a two-way street. So if you give it, a prompt and it comes back with something you don't like, it's not just like over. That's not just the end. You can ask it, hey, I'm not happy with this output. I would have preferred it if it was more like blah, blah, blah. Ask me questions to clarify it so that I can help you create the result that I want, or something like that. So you kind of learn like how to talk to it to get it to do what you want.
Totally. Like, one thing that I do a lot now that I learned from experience is I'll say, hey, here's what I want to achieve. Write out some ways that we might achieve this.
Ooh, and I like that.
It'll put out a bunch of kind of ideas. And then most of the time I'll say, okay, cool, go ahead and execute those ideas. And so it helped me give it instructions, and then it tried to execute. So that's one way. Another way is, like, if you were doing it for estimating, you can upload spreadsheets. So let's say that you use Excel to do your estimates. You import that spreadsheet, and then you say, describe what you see on this spreadsheet, and it'll write a description. And then you can say, give it some context. Hey, this is a spreadsheet of an estimate I did for this kind of project, blah, blah, blah. Give it all that, and then say, okay, write me a prompt that I can give you next time that will help you create a spreadsheet exactly like this one. And it will spit out instructions, and you copy those instructions into a document, and next time you want to create an estimate, you start with those instructions. And now you're the sculptor, and you've upped your skill level, and now you'll get to the end result you want a lot faster. And you do that every time. Every time you use that prompt, you make it better. And eventually, theoretically, you'll get to the point where you have the perfect instructions, and it gives you exactly what you want every single time. Very soon, AI will be at that level, and our skill level using it will be, so that the people that can do that, they will be tremendously valuable.
Totally. Yep. It really doesn't hurt to get ahead of the curve, and it doesn't need to take a lot of time either.
No, it's $20 a month for the pro subscription.
And it's fun. It's like maybe scary to some, but like, get over it and just like have some fun with it.
I was super scared, like, when I first saw what it was becoming capable of last fall. I was like, all right, I give us till May until robots take over the world. But like, what am I going to do? Sit around and wait for that to happen? Like, no, let me use it while I can. And so, yeah, I mean, I made all my employees get a subscription. I reimburse them for it.
But nice. There's a team plan now, right?
Yeah, but it's important to me that they all have their own, so that they
Gotcha.
can do their own stuff in it. It's private. Like, I want everybody experimenting with this stuff because like, it's truly amazing what you can accomplish. What was your other tip?
Did I have another tip?
I thought you did.
Lower your expectations and give it more context.
Okay.
And was there more?
I don't know, but give it more context. I like that one. I take my dog on lots of walks, and so I open up the app and hit the voice to text button, and I will just sit there and dump my brain out about an idea I have. And it can be anything. And sometimes I'll record like 5 minutes of me just talking, explaining every little thing I can possibly brainstorm about a topic. And then I'll say, okay, organize this into something that makes sense. And it'll take all my random ideas and produce an outline. And it allows me to organize my thoughts and really hone in on what I can do with the ideas I have. And it's just crazy. Another thing that I do often is I'll take transcripts from my YouTube videos and I'll pop them in and work with that information. So like, this is huge for contractors who are estimating projects, because you go in, record a video, just record the whole meeting, the whole conversation, go home, upload it to YouTube, keep it private so no one can see it. YouTube automatically turns it into a transcript. Paste that transcript into ChatGPT, and now you have a complete log of everything that was said in that conversation, so that it'll help you. You won't have to remember every little detail. And I mean, that alone is a tremendous value. So yeah, just use it. Just try it out. I actually know a lot of guys they use it all the time. And there's other AI tools out for like using your video to measure things and create estimates and 3D designs like in real time. So the technology is amazing. A lot of people won't use it, and they'll just be left behind eventually.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if you saw this as I was scrolling through it earlier, but like, sheesh, this looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, with that kind of stuff, like, I mean, it is kind of scary, but imagine the productivity measuring capabilities when you have a camera watching every single person, what they're doing. It'll probably highlight red. Oh, there, it's doing it right there. Highlight red when there's like some kind of OSHA violation, or if like somebody is like losing their balance next to the edge somewhere. Like,
yeah, for real.
Like, it's pretty wild. People aren't going to be clocking in. Like, they're just going to be on camera, and as soon as they walk on, the clock's going to start, and it's going to measure how long it took them to do every little detail. Like,
yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
What strikes me as insane is like the scale of some of these tiny problems. Of like, right here it says construction errors are estimated at 273 billion each year in the U.S.
One of the reasons why, like, there's a lot of white collar jobs getting replaced by AI right now, and it's because all of their work has been done digitally, and so it's all the data's there. You can train AI on all this data. Well, blue collar jobs aren't being replaced as quickly because there isn't a whole lot of data available. You can't train the AI to do all these little things because there's not data to train it on. But with tools like this that are recording constantly and measuring all these little things, it really won't be long before we have robots doing all of that stuff.
Your back office is going to have so much more leverage. Instead of having maybe 6 people in that back office, maybe you can get away with just having 1 or 2.
This can cut the time it takes by 90%.
You know how it was like, if you don't have a website, you don't exist? This is going to potentially be the next wave of that.
If people are going to be able to produce 10 times or 100 times as much content, meaning they're going to have a 100 times bigger footprint. AI for contractors. I'm in the contracting world. I'm constantly thinking about running a construction business and how to do it better. And with all of these AI tools that are coming out now, like, what are all the applications of this for contractors. One application I think is really helpful is email communications. So it can take a lot of time to write an email, but you can make a quick bullet list, or you can even make a short recording, like a voice to text, while you're driving down the road or while you're standing on a job site. You think of something you had to say to someone, make a voice note, and when you get home, throw it in ChatGPT, tell it you wanted to write an email that covers all the points, and it'll spit out an email in 10 seconds. You can maybe make a couple quick edits, but it can really speed up that process. A lot of contractors have been holding a hammer their whole life, so typing fast and writing isn't their strong suit. So this tool can really help with that.
On the topic of email, there is an email client called Superhuman. I've been using it for about 2 months. Have you ever had your inbox actually be at 0 before?
Only for 30 seconds.
It took me about a week, and then it was 0, and I've kept it at 0 ever since. It's a mixture of AI and just a really good user interface. It sorts your email better than anything else. Superhuman really only shows you email that you should be seeing. And it learns based on what you reply to and what you just straight up delete.
Definitely looking into that. What other AI tools are there out there for emails and stuff like that? Do you know of any?
Like, you saw that meme. It was like, turn these bullet points into an email, and then the other person asked ChatGPT to turn the email into bullet points.
Yeah.
So funny. But yeah, I find that for emails, if you're generating emails with an AI thing, I find it does tend to be long and verbose, and I'm a succinct writer.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, warning, if you're using ChatGPT or any of these other AI writing tools, I find that, first of all, like, the instructions you give it are extremely important. Like, you can have it write an email based off of a text note or a voice note you made, and then you can say, okay, write this email in half as many words, and you can, like, keep going back and forth with it and refine it. I always edit everything that comes out of it first. Another use case for it is, so if you're doing meetings with clients, you can record that meeting. Like, you can record it on your phone, like just a voice memo or whatever, turn that into a transcript, and then throw it into a tool like ChatGPT and say, make me a summary of this, or put this in bullet points. And it'll pull information out and help you remember all the things without you necessarily having to write everything down. And as with all these things, like, these are new tools, and we're constantly discovering new ways to do it. I think it'll be helpful in estimating. It's really good at math. If you have any ideas for things you would want me to explore, maybe on a YouTube Live or something like that, throw them in the comments, and we'll just do it live, and we'll mess around and see what we can come up with. And also, if you're using any of these AI tools for your own business and you don't mind sharing, please do. We can all learn from it.
I think in the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see a situation where your back office is going to have so much more leverage. Instead of having maybe 6 people, you can get away with just having 1 or 2, because those people can leverage the power of all these new software tools that are coming out to be able to do way more in way less time. I'm able to get 6 to 10 times the output of, say, content writing that I was able to do before, when I was just writing it all with my stupid human brain.
Yeah, the tools right now, like ChatGPT, is most useful for content writing. So a lot of construction companies have blogs and stuff like that. Like, you can record a video of yourself, or you could just record a conversation you're having with somebody and put it into ChatGPT and have it output a blog post. And then all you have to do is read through it, edit some things, change some things, make it what you want it. If you've never even written a blog post before because you don't have time, or maybe you don't even know how to do it, like, it can really speed up the learning curve. You can even ask it, like, how do I post this on WordPress? It'll give you, like, step-by-step instructions. But if you are producing content now, this can cut the time it takes by 90%. And so something that you only do once a quarter because it takes you 4 hours, maybe you can do it now in 20 minutes, and so you can do it more often. It's definitely having a big impact on my business, because creating content is something we do all the time. And where we would normally, like, take notes manually from a video, we can have the notes be put out in 2 minutes instead of 2 hours. And we can produce a whole bunch of drafts of content as a starting point for our content writers, instead of having to produce those drafts manually. So what's happening and what's going to happen in every industry that this touches is the top 10% of experts in the field, they're going to be able to leverage these tools to produce 10 times as much output. And they're going to be expected to produce that output because that's going to become the norm. And everybody else that doesn't already have that expertise is going to have a much harder time because they'll get outputs from these robots, but they won't know if it's good or not. And so you got to be really careful. If you're using this on a topic you don't really understand, it could be dangerous. That's why I suggest using it for simple things like emails. You can cut your time down a lot. You can get things written a lot faster, but just be careful like writing articles for your website and things on topics that you don't really know about, because you might be putting out wrong information and have no clue. And you are not going to be getting any better or learning if you don't know, if you're not actually producing anything yourself.
If you're in the construction world and you haven't thought about becoming a thought leader in your industry before, I'm saying this because I know that most have not. They like to stay relatively unknown online. There's a chance that in the next few years, this is going to be the same thing as, like, you know how it was like, if you don't have a website, you don't exist? And now it's starting to become, if you don't have social media, you don't exist. This is going to potentially be the next wave of that, is that if you're really amazing at what you do and you're not putting out, whether it's video content or written blog post content or whatever it is, there's a chance you might fall into this realm of obscurity online, because like Chuck said, the people who are leveraging these technologies and putting out their knowledge and their advice online, they're going to be everywhere. Yeah, they're going to be unignorable. So I challenge everybody to get into that in some capacity.
That's true. If people are going to be able to produce 10 times or 100 times as much content, meaning they're going to have 100 times bigger footprint, and there's only so much attention span, those people are going to suck up space. And I totally agree with what Roman's saying. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by thought leader? If there's a carpenter or contractor out there who's not really into this online stuff but is intrigued, like, what do you mean by being a thought leader? And then how can somebody like that, where should they start?
It's just the next level of trust building online. So you know how most websites will have a little bit of a story about the company. It'll be a couple paragraphs. Everyone has that now. And it's like platitude-y. So the more you can put out there, the more people can know, like, and trust you and differentiate you from others. That's the big thing there. And I know we've talked about a lot of really high-level stuff on this video, so I want to bring it back down to earth and make it actionable. Mm-hmm. So you had mentioned meeting summaries and stuff like that. So we'll drop a couple tools in the description. One's otter.ai, another is fireflies.ai. So we'll drop links for those in case you're doing a lot of Zoom calls for your estimates and stuff like that. But you can also upload audio. Chuck was saying if you're just recording an in-person meeting, you can actually upload your audio into there. And what it'll do is it'll summarize and give you action items and things to follow up on and stuff like that. And then on the content side, I know you guys are thinking about cool stuff in the car. You're thinking about ways to do the jobs better and, you know, how you can grow your business and stuff like that. Just whip the phone out in the truck on the way to the job site and just talk, just rant. Sorry, there's a vehicle or something, eh?
Yeah, someone's like drilling on the other side of the wall. I'm literally in the construction zone right now.
That's awesome. I'll just mute you for a brief second. So if you're just driving on the way to a job site, just whip out your phone, talk about whatever you're thinking about in your industry, and then put that in a chat GPT and ask it to write a blog post based on that with no extra time taken to record it and just a couple of minutes to upload it and transcribe it and convert it to a blog post. You've created an amazing piece of content, and that's something that I think a lot of contractors could do at scale. They could do that every day, and it would take them probably 10 minutes a day. But even if you just did that once a week or once every 2 weeks, you will be heaps further ahead of 99.9% of contractors, I promise you. You're unmuted now. It's still loud, though.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm in a construction zone, but whatever. If you do that 2 or 3 times a week for a year, like, you're going to be a thought leader. That's just how it works. Like, when I started this channel, I literally just sat in front of the same camera. Once a day, I would turn it on. I didn't even know what I was going to say. And I just talked to it for like 10 minutes. And I would edit the beginning and I'd edit the ends. Took me like 3 minutes, and then I would upload it. I did that almost every day for like a year. I didn't even know why I was doing it. But after a year, I had a couple hundred subscribers, and people were actually reaching out to me for help to hire my company. And I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. Never thought this would happen. It's the same for everybody right now. If you record some stuff driving down the road in your truck a couple times a week and you upload that, you're going to have an audience of people who relate to you, who like you, who think you're cool, who like listening to your thoughts, and who tune in whenever you put something out, and guarantee you some of those people are going to want to work with you. Not to mention, it's just really fun and cool to be able to put yourself out there and create this tiny little community of people who know who you are, even though maybe even your family doesn't even know you have this YouTube channel.
Yeah, it is super fun.
That was a super good tip.
I've heard that Google is going to start identifying AI-generated content and will cause you to lose ranking when it comes to SEO. Is there any truth to this, Chuck? You're probably on top of this based on what you do for businesses.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to use AI to make content. One is to go to ChatGPT and say, write an article about bathroom remodeling. And then just taking that content and posting it on your blog or whatever. I think that content might work now, but it's not going to work for long because it doesn't add anything new. It doesn't add any value. ChatGPT is not going to create a whole lot of new stuff because it's literally just taking the most probable things that were already said in the past and putting those together in new order, but it's saying the same shit. So the way that we use ChatGPT to write content, but the way that we do it is we record ourselves or our clients talking about their topics, giving their opinions, talking about their specific situations they were in, telling stories basically. And then we prompt ChatGPT to use their exact wording and to take what they said and tweak it just enough to turn it into a cohesive piece of content and then post that. And just logically, I don't think Google will punish that because it's valuable. It's unique and it's valuable. Anybody who's trying to make content for SEO for their local business, I would make content about your location, like your locale. Like, talk about what you're doing. We did this bathroom, we did it in this building. This building has these issues because it was built in this year in this city. They use these methods. We have earthquakes in our area. You know, like, talk about your specific stuff. Make it valuable to you and interesting to you, and then it will be valuable and interesting to the people around you. And you can use ChatGPT to help you put these things together. Just make sure that you're instructing it to use your wording and like preserve as much of you in it as possible. And I don't see that content getting hit because it's the stuff you're saying. It's not being produced by the AI.
So Google doesn't inherently hate stuff that's AI generated. They just hate stuff that's generic and doesn't provide value.
Exactly.
That could be AI written or human written.
Yeah.
Content's bad content.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can use AI to actually produce high quality, valuable original content, which you said the method by voice recording yourself, talking about your stuff, and then having it kind of like restructure it.
Yeah. Like the way that I do it is I have the ChatGPT app. I do voice to text. I will say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to write an article. Let's make an outline. And then I'll just talk to it and I'll talk about my ideas. I'll tell stories. It'll put it into an outline format. And then I'll look at it and I'll say, forget this part. Oh, let's add a part in here, and I'll talk to it. And then I'll say, okay, turn the words that I said into an article, use my exact wording as much as possible. Don't make anything up. And then it'll turn the outline into an article. I'll copy and paste it into Google Docs. I use Google Docs. And then I will edit it myself. So my editing style is simple. I read it out loud and I will change words as I would change them the way that I would say them. And then I publish it. So
Cool.
Anybody can do that.
Yeah, so chuck in a truck.
Yeah.
I love that term.
That's like a really hot term lately.
Yeah.
And then everyone says it and then they look at me, they're like,
I
are
thought
you offended?
Melissa made it up to use your name in a phrase,
Everybody's
but
saying
it's
it.
actually a thing.
It's like a thing that I didn't hear before 2 months ago, and now like everyone's saying it.
Yeah. So chuck in a truck, like we talked about in some previous videos, could voice memo on their phone driving between job sites talk about the work that they're doing,
Yeah.
the city that they live in, the problems they're facing, whatever. Get home, load that into ChatGPT. In 30 seconds, it's taken that voice memo, turned it into an article, and then they can post that. Beautiful.
Exactly. And it makes it possible for people who might not feel like they're good writers to produce content.
Totally.
And what's extra cool about that is, like, if you're posting a blog, well, you probably want to post that on Facebook, maybe LinkedIn. And so you can, you can do your editing and then copy paste it back in and say, hey, here's my edited article. I need, make me 3 Facebook posts that are about 3 to 5 sentences long and about this topic, and use my exact words whenever possible. And so now you're creating content for other platforms in a couple minutes using your words. It just speeds up the production. And it's stuff that most people wouldn't do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't take the time to do it.
Yep.
It's just possible now. And the reason that this whole topic of conversation's even a thing is because there's so many people using AI right now, but they're all using it in the laziest, least creative way possible. They're like, write me an article on this.
Right.
And so there's people build automated programs that are making these kind of articles and publishing them. So that the size of the internet might have been this big a year ago, and now it's like this big because all of the shit is AI generated. And that's what Google has to combat. Google has to find a way to filter all of this crap out.
Yeah.
Or else people are going to stop using the platform because all they're going to find are valueless articles that were written by robots.
Right.
So if you want to stand out, then you have to create unique, valuable stuff. And that's easy. You just tell your own stories and use these tools to turn your stories into content.
Yeah, and I imagine that Google's filtering probably hasn't really changed that much, because if they used AI detection to punish people, well, that would be so dumb, because they obviously know what a powerful tool AI is going to be for people who do create value-packed articles like you and I.
Yeah, and AI detection doesn't work all that great.
Right.
You can run the same article through the same tool and it'll give you different scores.
Yeah.
I've heard of a lot of people who put their own writing into these tools and it says it was AI generated.
Exactly.
So that's not a good measure of whether or not something's valuable.
Yeah, so they're gonna the same, because they've always been trying to get rid of spammy articles. Spammy articles aren't a new thing.
Yeah.
AI. It's been happening for 20 years.
What's changing the fastest for them, I think, is they're using AI to try to do what they've been trying to do the whole time, which is find the value. And I think they do a lot of that these days with engagement metrics. So like when you post a YouTube video, they'll show the video to a sample size of people. And then if those people watch it, like it, comment, share it, then they'll show it to more people. And if those people do the same, they'll keep showing it to more. That's called going viral. If they show it to those 100 people and people don't watch more than 2 seconds of it, then they just stop showing it to people because the algorithm says this isn't valuable based off of, like, these people told us it's not valuable. They do the same thing with blogs and stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's based on if someone searched that term, did they click on your link? And if they did, how much time did they spend on page? Stuff like that, right?
Yeah, they're watching everything everybody does. Everyone who has an Android phone is giving Google data. Not everyone, because there's some de-Googled phones out there.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that solves a lot of the comments where people go, oh, I find, someone else on this video said, I find it very inaccurate so far. And I have a strong feeling it's just the case of they're not giving it enough. They're probably doing what you said. Write me an article about bathroom remodels.
Well, yeah. I don't use ChatGPT to create any finished products besides what
just
I'm
modifying your source material.
Yes.
Same.
I use it for a lot of brainstorming. I use it to take notes. I use it to brainstorm. And I already said that, but that's like the main thing I use it for.
Yeah.
But I'm always the last filter and editor for everything because I understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you don't understand what you're talking about, you can't really use these tools yet because you're just having faith that the tool knows. And what is that going to do for your business? Unless your business is spamming and getting tons of eyeballs for valueless stuff that may or may not be correct, there's a lot of businesses like that. but for most like regular small business people, you're the expert. Share your expertise. Use these tools to turn your words into writing so that you don't have to sit in front of a computer and type this stuff out, because you won't do it.
Yeah.
It takes too much time. So, another concept, and I don't know how much this applies, but AI presents a new approach to creative process. Like the old creative process was like, do step 1 and then do step 2 and do step 3. And then by the time you get to the last step, like you have this complete thing. With AI, it's more like a scanner. It's like do steps 1 through 10 and then do steps 1 through 10 again, and then do steps 1 through 10 again. And each time you do it, it gets a little clearer, a little better, a little more valuable, a little higher quality. And you do that 4 or 5 times and you're able to do it way faster, but like you're doing the whole thing over and over because you're able to do it so quickly.
Yeah.
And that's how I use these tools, is like, do this with this information, boom, okay, give it better instructions, do it again, give it better instructions, do it again. And each time we get a little closer to what I want until we're close enough that I'm like, okay, I'll take it from here and I'll finish the last little bit.
Yes.
I save 90% of the time that it used to take to do certain things.
Yeah, well, it makes a lot of those in between steps maybe optional. It like short circuits it, because if like step 1 is record the voice memo, step 2 is write an outline, step 3 is create the intro sentences for each paragraph. You know what I mean? Like if you take a regular writing approach and then step 10 is having a finished article, you can go straight from step 1, record that voice memo, straight to step 10 now.
Yeah.
And step 10 might be perfect, or it might be 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
And then you can go back and figure out which steps you want to like. So it might make all those steps optional. That's what I love.
Totally. And it changes the whole approach. Like for writing an article now, if I'm starting with just base GPT with no instructions, then I'll just open voice to text. I'll say, we're going to write an article on this story. And then I just sit there and I tell the story, 5-10 minute story. And then I'd press go. And I might say like, make an outline of this story, just to be able to see it myself. Like, okay, here's the outline. Is there anything I want to throw in there? Yes or no? If there isn't, maybe I'll just delete that step and just say, okay, cool, turn that into an article and see what it does.
Yeah.
And then I might go back and do it again, but give it instructions like talk like a Spartan, because giving it that instruction seems to make it a lot less fluffy and talk more like a real person. And that's what I meant when I said like give it no instructions in the beginning, because you start with a prompt of some sort.
Yeah.
And if you're doing these articles all the time, each time you do it, your starting prompt gets a little better.
Yeah.
And so by the 20th article, like you have a prompt that might allow you to just say your story and it spits out an article exactly how you like it, and it becomes like a totally new process. So you're skipping all those interim steps.
Heck yeah.
It just depends. Like if I was doing a lot of estimates, I'd be using this all the time. I would talk through the project and have the AI like brainstorm what things we need to include. I could upload my pricing for labor, materials, and have it help me price some things out. Of course, I'm going to check all that stuff. You can have it spit out a spreadsheet as a starting point for you to put together the estimate in a spreadsheet form. I would say what things might go wrong. I might say this building was built in 1952 in this area, and maybe it will have some information for me. Maybe there's information I can put in and have it help me with. So there's like all sorts of things to do, and there's no YouTube video, there's no course that's going to teach you how to do this. Like you just go do it. It's $20 a month. It's voice to text. You don't even have to type. And just start using it while you're doing your day-to-day stuff. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. This is how I'm doing it. What are some ways I might do it better? And it'll give you a ton of ideas, and maybe one of those ideas will trigger an idea in your own head to change your process a little bit, make it better. And when you do that all the time, every day, after a month or two, like you start to understand how this tool works because it works in the darkness. And it works unlike any tool that there ever was. And it's like using like hand tools. Like anyone can saw a board, but like only a few people can saw a perfect line and a perfect cut and do it quickly and efficiently and do that every time. And it's something you just learn. It's a skill you learn by doing it. It's the same with AI. It's like you learn by using it. And that's the only way to learn.
All right. Welcome to the AI for Contractors seminar. My name is Chuck Kyle, contractor my whole life. Been running a digital marketing company for the last 8 years. And for the last 2 to 3 years, I've been an AI early adopter. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because I feel like as of about 4 weeks ago, this whole AI thing is becoming applicable to everybody. Like if this is a tidal wave, we're just getting to the part where the tidal wave becomes surfable. And I'm surfing it, a few people I know are surfing it, but most people still have no idea that this is even a thing. And everybody's heard about ChatGPT. Some people have heard about Gemini. Some people have heard about Claude. But most people I know in my day-to-day life, they're not using these tools yet. And maybe some people, like the majority of people who are using them, like they're using them to draft some emails or find a recipe or something like super basic, something that you could have done 2 years ago. But they're not taking advantage of what you can do today. And I know from experience, just in the last few weeks, that the time is now for normal people to start adopting this technology and using it every day. For about 2 years, I've been telling everybody on my team at Adapt that you either learn how to use these tools or you're going to be replaced by them. And this was just the intuition I had from experimenting with this stuff back in 2023. But we are at that point now. And so this is going to be a topic that I talk about frequently, and it's something that I'm exploring every single day. And the cool thing is if you remember back to when the internet came out, like most people were sleeping on it. Like they had no idea, like what is this internet thing? This isn't gonna be anything. But a few people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they saw the opportunity and they took advantage of it and they rode that wave, and now they're super uber billionaires racing to the moon and to Mars. And this AI thing it's just like the internet, except it's moving like 100 times faster than the internet did. Every single day, new tools are coming out, new techniques. And so right now, I think the best place to get started is just start using it. The technology is going to change. Today, I use Claude as my main AI. I used to use ChatGPT. I found Claude to be better, so now I use Claude every day, sometimes multiple instances at once. But in a month from now, if something better comes out, I'm going to use that. I don't care which AI model I use. What is important is that I'm learning how to use it and I'm staying on the frontier of what's possible today. So I'm just going to ramble on and talk about some of the things I'm doing. I'm going to throw out some guidance that I think will apply to everybody. And it's the same thing that I've been telling all my friends and my family and my colleagues. You know, everybody, they see something that I'm doing and they're like, oh my God, how do I do that? And here's lesson one. My answer is always ask Claude. So Claude is like ChatGPT. It's a chat interface. You can go to Google, type in Claude AI, and start using it right now for free. Though I do recommend buying the $20 a month version because you get access to a smarter AI. But you just go there and ask it like, hey, what can I do with this tool? And it will ask you some questions about you to figure out who you are and what you're doing. And then it will give you some use cases right off the bat. And you know, you're on YouTube right now. You probably use YouTube all the time to learn how to do things, to research things. And you might even have watched tons of videos on my channel about contractor marketing, business, like looking for advice, some tips, some actionable things that you can do. We're hitting this switch. Like when it comes to AI, when it comes to using Claude, I'm telling you not to go to YouTube to look for tutorials. Go to Claude and ask it. Have a conversation with the AI tool itself on what you can do with it. When you try to do something and you run into an issue, you learn how to take a screenshot on your computer and feed it to Claude and ask it to advise you on what to do. And this loop can take you all over the place. This is what I've been doing since October of 2023, and it's what I do today. And I even use Claude to help me carry out tasks that I've done tons of times, because it's nice to have some feedback and just to work alongside an entity that is at your beck and call all the time. So I recommend using Claude. Claude has a thing built in called Claude Code. And Claude Code allows anybody and everybody to become a developer. By developer, I mean somebody who creates programs, creates applications. Everything you do on your phone is an application. Everything you do on your computer is an application. With Claude Code, anybody can start creating their own apps. Like this, let me tell you a quick story about when I first got started with all of this stuff. So it was October of 2023, and I was in, I think, like Italy or something, and I decided I was going to try to use ChatGPT to create this app I'd always wanted. It was, I wanted to be able to track all my time and put it in a spreadsheet. And so the idea was I was going to make this app that connected to my Google Calendar, and every day it would move everything on my Google Calendar into a Google Sheet, a spreadsheet. Very simple app. Oh, Google thinks I'm talking to it. So back then, ChatGPT, I went to ChatGPT, said, hey, I want to do this. What are my options? It said, oh, you can use Google App Scripts. And I'm like, cool, I don't know what that is. Walk me through it. And I spent about 8 hours going back and forth with GPT, copy pasting things, running into issues, having things not work, and just looping through this pattern until eventually I got it working. And I was floored. I was like, holy cow, I've always wanted to be able to create my own applications, never been able to do it. I started learning code when I was younger, but it was taking too much time. But I was able to make this thing, and it worked. And I was able to use it and track all my time for a while and get the insights that came from doing that. And that was my first foray. That was when I first started thinking like, holy cow, this is super powerful. Eventually, this will start replacing things that people are doing, and this is probably a really good skill to have. Mid-2024, I tried it again. I made the same app, except this time it took me 30 minutes. I did it the same way I did before. I had some previous knowledge, so that sped things up a little bit, but the AI got so much smarter that I was able to replicate this app in 30 minutes that had taken me 8 hours. Now flash forward to late 2025, when after Claude Code had come out, I gave Claude Code one prompt, told it what I wanted. It created the code. I put the code into app scripts. It worked first time. So this time it took me 3 minutes. So I went from 8 hours to 30 minutes to 3 minutes. And that was late 2025. It's March 2026, and the models are multiple times smarter than they were then. So if you are getting into this stuff now, you are coming into it with like Einstein level AI. This stuff is so smart. It can take your idea and implement it correctly in one shot. And there's no way to explain this well enough that you will get it. You just have to go do it yourself. You have to go try it. Go to Google, type in Claude AI, download the thing, pay the $20, get Claude Code, and if you don't know what to make, ask it to ask you questions to help you figure out something to make, and just start doing something. On like not just the coding front, Claude, like I showed Claude to my friend TJ like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. And I texted him the other day. I said, hey, how's Claude Life going? And he uses it all day, every day. He's using it to create his workouts, to create his nutrition plan, to explore business ideas, to help him with his job. He's using this for all sorts of things. And that's what happens. When you start experiencing how powerful these tools are, you start using them all the time. And it's that use that teaches you how they work and sparks other ideas on what you can do. And I'm a couple years into it, but if I were getting into it today, I would get to where I am now in a few months rather than a few years, because the AI is so much more powerful now. It's so smart. It's kind of scary sometimes. The only thing that gives me hope that it's not going to replace everyone in the world is how slow people are adopting it. If you take 1,000 people off the street, there's probably one of them that is really actively using this right now. But in a couple years, it's going to be 50% of them. It's not that AI replaces everybody. It's that AI makes the people who use it so productive that they are able to do the job of 10, 20, 1,000 people. And so you want to be on that train. Here's an example of something that I've been building lately, because I said already, like, I feel a few weeks ago we just hit this point where the rubber's able to hit the road. And so I didn't know exactly, like, how do I get Claude involved in my business? How do I start applying this to the real world situations my business is in all the time? And so something I've picked up about this AI stuff is that it's all about data. And when I say the word data, a lot of people's eyes glaze over and they're like, oh God, data, like, this is outside of my realm. But just bear with me for a second, because all AI does, and all these applications and these computer programs you use, all they do is they take data, they move it around, they reshape it into other things, and that's really all these programs do. And data, when you use ChatGPT, you're giving it what's called a prompt. Like, you're giving it some kind of data, some kind of information, and then it takes that information and gives you an output. And so when it comes to like a real world business, part of the challenge is, how do I get it the right information about what's going on in order for it to do something helpful for me? Because if I have to sit here and spoon feed it every little piece of information it needs, it's probably not worth my time. I might as well just do it myself, right? So what I've done is, we have all these different apps at my company that we use. Like, we've got Gmail, we use Monday as our project management software. We use Go High Level as our CRM. What else do we use? We use Google Calendar. We use Slack. Slack is our team messaging software. That's what the team uses to communicate. We use Zoom. Zoom is what we use to do meetings, video meetings with people all over the place, our clients, our team, everything. And so what I did is I created what's called a database, which a database is like a giant spreadsheet where you can just put tons of data in. And I piped in the data from all these different places into one database. So everything that happens on a Zoom call, all the transcripts from all of our meetings go into the database. Everything that happens in Go High Level, all of our leads, all of our conversations with our leads, all of our notes about them, all of that goes into the database. Monday, that's where we manage all of our projects. There's like 90 different boards going on with our team in there, assigning tasks to each other, completing them, marking them complete, marking them blocked, putting in screenshots, all of that. All of that goes into our database now. All of our Gmails, all of our Google Calendar meetings, all of our Slack messages, everything that happens goes into this database. And then I'm able to use Claude and give it the ability to read what's in my database. And now all of a sudden, Claude is my Eye of Sauron. If you've ever watched Lord of the Rings, you know what Eye of Sauron is. It can see everything that's going on at the company. And so I can ask it, hey, Claude, what's going on today? And it will go look at the emails. It'll look at the activity in Monday. It'll look at the leads and the sales happening in Go High Level. and it will be able to see all of that in a few seconds and then give me an output that helps me see what I need to see. And this is something that almost every company can start doing now. And the first place you start is with the data. Like, you got to figure out where all the data at your company lives. If you're doing construction, a lot of the data is either non-existent in your noggin, but you got, like, the first step for you to do something like this is to figure out, like, how to start tracking everything that's going on. You have to put the activity into a format that AI can see. It's easy at a digital marketing company because we already do everything digitally. So the data was already there. All I had to do was plug it in. But for a construction company, like, how do you do project management now? Do you use a software? Do you use a notebook? You can pick up a software like Monday or Trello, or there's tons of different ones. But you can start tracking everything that happens. Like, you put the estimate in there, you put the invoices, you put the pictures of the project before, during, after. Like, that's a huge one. If you had, like, a comprehensive like timeline of photos of all of your the last 100 projects you've done, you could literally give Claude access to that, let it crawl those images, and it will now have a really solid understanding of what your process looks like and what it looks like when things are getting done to your standards. And it just help you, and what you do with that, the opportunities are endless. Like, right now, for me, yeah, I'm preparing to have it do things, but right now it's just assisting. Like, it does little things for me. It'll go through my Gmail every morning, and it'll look through my messages, and based off of the rules I gave it, it'll clean my inbox. Every day it'll go through our Monday boards and point out the things to our project manager that got missed yesterday. These are the things that were due yesterday that didn't get done. So little things like that. One thing that I'm setting up right now is when a sales call occurs from Go High Level, it happens on a Zoom call. When that Zoom call is complete, the transcript goes into our database. Claude sees it, and Claude automatically puts the notes from that call into the note in Go High Level, and then it will turn around and draft the email to send that person. So it's taking little tiny bites out of the actions that all the humans are taking at my company. And what's slowly happening is it's enabling individuals to do 10 times more work than they were before. And so part of that means finding new work for other people to do, but part of that is also we're able to just do way more with less people. So whereas we would need to hire somebody in June, now we don't need to hire somebody in June. So where do you get started? Like, a big thing with data is you have to figure out, like, what data is okay to show Claude and what isn't. Because Claude is a cloud app. And you have to assume that anything that you put into Claude could potentially be seen or be exposed someday. So if you have, like, NDAs, if you have, like, HIPAA things, health related, if you have legal things that you can't share, you wouldn't want to share your bank account numbers. You wouldn't want to share stuff that you wouldn't post on Facebook. You know, you don't want to share certain things. And so if all of your okay to share and not okay to share stuff is meddled together, then you have to figure that out before you can start doing something like this. Like, if all of your emails, if half of your emails have confidential information, well, you can't give Claude access to your email. And so there's a lot of companies that are going to spend the next few years separating their data and figuring out, like, siloing what's okay to use or to put in the cloud and what's not okay. In a couple years, we'll be able to do something like Claude on our computer in our office or at our home, and that will make this a lot more simple. We won't have to worry so much about data getting exposed to the internet, to the world, because we'll be able to do it on our own computer. But that's not going to be It's not going to be like that for a few years. And if you wait a few years to get started on this stuff, you're going to be left behind. So to back it up, like, where do you get started on this stuff? You know, most people listening to this are probably like driving around in their truck between jobs, or you know, setting tile, doing something while you listen to this. My recommendation is like, go download Claude and just start using it today. You can use it to estimate. You can use it to help you with bookkeeping. I plugged Claude into our bookkeeping software. I gave it my bank transactions, and I gave it the transactions in the software, and it was able to go in and find some transactions that were missing, some duplicates. It was able to help me do what would have taken me 2 days. It was able to help me do in 30 minutes. So now I use it to help me categorize transactions. And a lot of people will get turned off because they go into it thinking that, like, okay, I'm going to go in and hand this off to AI 100%, and it's just going to do a perfect job, and then I won't have to do it anymore. And then they try it once, it doesn't work out like that, and they're like, AI doesn't work, screw this, not going to do it. And so AI is not smart enough to hand everything off yet. It might be someday, and that's the point where I would be worried, because if AI is smart enough to hand stuff off 100%, then we are not necessary anymore in the labor force. But right now, anyway, like, AI can get you typically 80% of the way there. So you have an idea, you plug it into Claude Opus, which is the current best model, and it will get you 80% of what you want. But then you have to spend some time with AI getting the other 20%. And this is the part that most people aren't getting yet. They're like, they do something and they're like, oh, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect, so I'm just not gonna do this anymore. But we need a human for this. Like, you can have Claude build you a website in 5 minutes, but the website's it's gonna be 80% good. It's not gonna, that last 20% will take you 5 hours, but that's really where the rubber meets the road. And this is what I've found I found this to be the case for most things. Super simple things, AI might be able to get you all the way there. But for bigger projects, for things that really matter, like if I was estimating a large remodel, I could use AI to help me get 80% of the way there, ask it, hey, what am I missing? What am I not thinking about? And it would be able to help guide me, but I would still need to rely on my own expertise to get it to the finish line. And this is the way that I see this stuff going, is people are figuring this stuff out so fast. In a matter of months, we're going to see massive changes happening. And what we're gonna have is we're gonna have like dashboards. You're gonna have like one screen on your computer that you've got a list of things the AI wants to do. And the human's just gonna go in and check them and approve them or deny them. And this is gonna be how, like, what the work of 100 people used to be, it's gonna be one person with a dashboard just looking through and quality controlling the AI. And over time, they'll have to do less and less quality control because the AI is just gonna be so dang good. So go download Claude, start messing with this stuff, use voice to text. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't wanna type all day. You use voice to text, it's got it built in. Some of you guys are gonna be pretty advanced who see this. So just tell me what you're doing. Like, let's share the ideas. We are literally on the frontier of something new. Like, the stuff I'm doing is stuff that nobody's done before, or, very few people are doing now, but you can't go on YouTube and find people doing real stuff. It's all just a bunch of hype, BS, or people you can't show everything you're doing online on YouTube because you're just welcoming people to come and try to hack you. So the best way to do this is just start doing it yourself. Mess around with it, experiment, come back and let me know how it goes. All right. One of the common questions I've been asked a lot lately is, will AI replace workers? And a lot of people are talking about construction workers. AI is already replacing workers. I don't think it's replacing that many construction workers because right now AI is really focused to work that's being done on computers. If you do work on computers, AI is 100% coming for your job. But if you can get really good at AI, then you can be one of the few people that gets paid 5 times as much and you plus AI replaces a bunch of people. This is just the way it's going. There's no way around it. I've been telling my team for years, you either learn how to use AI now or you're going to get replaced by it in the future. But the reason why it's not coming for construction right away is because AI works with data. And so if you work on spreadsheets all day and like your job is estimating and you're looking at plans and on a computer and you're putting stuff in a spreadsheet on a computer, AI can already do your job. It probably can't do it as well as you can, but in certain areas or certain parts of your job, it can do it way better than you, way faster. And so as time goes on, AI is going to 100% replace a lot of estimating. And what you'll have is instead of having a team of 10 estimators doing this many estimates, you're going to have 1 or 2 doing the same amount or more estimates with AI doing the majority of the work and the human just quality controlling and making sure that everything is accurate. Because there's a lot of risk to that. If AI has a hiccup or hallucinates, it could cost you a ton of money, or even worse, kill people. So there's always going to be some kind of human involvement when it comes to things that are risky. But the biggest barrier to entry for like plumbing or like things that require your hands is it's not that robots aren't going to be able to do that soon. It's that we don't have the data to teach the robots how to do it. But we will very soon. If everybody had been wearing a GoPro while they did plumbing, and you had 100,000 hours of footage of people doing plumbing, you can teach robots how to do that. And as long as they have the dexterity to get in there and do stuff, then they can do it. And so that time's coming soon. I will guess in the next few years, we're going to have robots starting to enter the construction field. And you're going to have operators and quality control people that work alongside them and make sure that everything is being done right. So I don't think AI is going to replace construction workers completely, and I don't think it's going to happen super quickly. And when I say super quickly, it's like, oh, well, it's not happening this year, but in the next 10 years, probably going to be happening. And so I guess it is, like, historically, it is happening very fast, but it's not happening as fast as, like, computer work. Computer work is going by the wayside very quickly. Next question, it's about estimating and budgets. So it's how accurate is AI for estimating and budgets? With Claude Opus and like GPT 5.4 just came out, these models are getting super, super smart. If you can put in, 100 past estimates that you did and 100 examples of how those jobs went in the job costing reports, you could probably get AI to give you extremely accurate estimates, probably like within 95% accuracy. And even without that, I was using GPT to help do bathroom remodel estimates 2 years ago, and it was very good. I haven't done that lately, but I guarantee that it's getting up there. So there's a lot of people online talking about it. JobTread puts out articles about individual examples, but it looks like it's getting pretty darn accurate. And I recommend anybody who's asking this and is doing estimates or budgets should already be using AI to help them. You do your thing, throw it into AI, see what kind of output you get, and then you can tell me how accurate it is for you. But I think you'll find that it's getting more accurate every couple weeks when they come out with new models. It gets more accurate. And the act of doing that and practicing using AI is going to show you how it can help you do your work a lot faster, a lot more accurate, a lot more easily. But it's not a replacement for your expertise. Not yet, anyway. The next question is, my data safe if I use ChatGPT or other AI tools? So the general answer is no. Like, if you're putting something into ChatGPT, you have to just assume that it's out on the internet. Now, is anybody going to see it? Probably not. but it's not worth the risk for things like passwords or account numbers or API keys. Like, you don't want to share that kind of stuff with AI, but people are doing it all day, every day. Some people might eventually experience a negative side effect of that, but most people are probably going to be fine. So if it's like legal stuff, HIPAA, NDAs, account numbers, stuff like that, I would just say never ever put that into ChatGPT. Be mindful of that. If you wouldn't post it like on your blog or on Facebook or something, then don't give it to ChatGPT. It's pretty easy to get around that stuff. Like, I have shared plenty of financial information with GPT. I just take my account numbers off. I take names off. It doesn't need to know the names of clients in order to help me analyze like P&Ls and things like that. Next question. Can AI actually read my plans and catch errors? Yeah, it can. You can give ChatGPT, you can give Claude, you can give Gemini photos. Some of these AIs can read videos now, and they are getting very good at the visual stuff. And so, yeah, you can 100% use it to read plans. But again, like, don't rely on this stuff 100%. Like, we're not at the point yet where that's like a safe idea, but some people are probably getting away with it right now. This guy asked, I hate typing. I don't want to sit around and write long prompts. Most of these AIs have voice to text built in now. I made a tool. It's tools.adaptedigitalsolutions.com/speech-to-text. You can go to that site. It's a speech-to-text tool right now. It's free. I use that instead of using the built-in speech-to-text, because if you spend 5 minutes, explaining this brilliant idea, and then you press OK, and then you get an error that says it's gone and you have to repeat it, it never comes out as good the second time. So I made a tool just for that because it's more reliable. But in my experience right now anyway, Claude voice to text is kind of shitty, but GPT voice to text is super, super good. So yeah, you shouldn't even be typing most of your prompts. You should be speaking them into existence. Tim asks, how much does AI cost? It seems kind of expensive. Right now, GPT and Claude, I prefer Claude, but I use both. They both have a $20 a month plan that's more than enough for most people. I have multiple instances of the $200 plan with Claude, and I have one $200 plan with GPT because I use this stuff all day, every day. But you can start with the $20 a month, and the value you get is absolutely insane. Like, I would happily spend 10 times these prices, and I would still pay it, and I would still be happy because the amount of value I get is exponential. I would possibly expect these models to get more expensive, but there's so much competition on them right now that maybe that won't be the case. And at some point, we'll probably have AI running on our phones that's just as smart as the models that exist today. So right now, the best place to focus, in my opinion, is just using it, learning how this technology works. That way, however it develops, like, you're able to use it right away. You're not, I would hate for you to come back in 2 years and be like, man, everyone else is doing this. I better get on the bandwagon because you're going to be so far behind. Can AI help me handle awkward client emails? Absolutely. I've used AI in a few situations with, you can call them awkward clients, trouble clients. Every 100th client is kind of a pain in the butt. They come out of nowhere with accusations, making up stories about stuff that happened that didn't. And so at my companies, we're very careful to log everything that happens, document everything. We can go through all the emails that we've had back and forth with somebody. We record our conversations when we do Zoom calls, and oftentimes even in person. And so it's been really handy when a customer, usually using AI, comes at us with 20 accusations about how we didn't do what we said we were going to do. And we're able to gather all of the emails and all of the meeting transcripts, dump it into AI, and have it kind of be like our counsel and just show specific examples of what they're saying that's accurate and what isn't. And luckily for us, so far, like, everything they said was BS, but we were able to use AI to very quickly gather the evidence and slide it into the appropriate spots so that we had our story put together rock solid, and we were able to communicate with them properly and professionally. I find Claude to be very good at navigating professionally. It can keep you from saying stuff you shouldn't say, and it can highlight when other people are saying stuff that they shouldn't say. So, yeah, I mean, if you're having any kind of issues with communication, even if you're just slow to write emails, you can use voice to text. You can give it the context. It can draft the emails for you. I always recommend read and edit the emails yourself. Don't ever send things you're not reading, but I find AI to be extremely good at that. How can AI save me time on paperwork and admin? So this is one of the best use cases for it, really. I have a friend who is a sales guy. He does like 6 sales calls a day. And at the end of the day, he spends about an hour summarizing the calls, explaining how it went, noting all the follow-ups. Like he has about 45 to 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week of this admin stuff. And he was able to set up a little AI system where his call transcript automatically goes into the AI. And so at the end of the day, the AI gives him the full report, and all he has to do is check it and copy paste it in the right spot. So that hour a day turned into like 5 minutes, and so saved him almost 5 hours a week. When you start using AI, you're going to find tons of ways that it can help you do little things like that. Like if you're getting like paper documents, things even in handwriting, you can take a picture of them, give them to AI, it'll convert it to text super quickly. It's a huge time saver. It's so easy to use. The only way to learn how to use it is to start doing it. Go to Claude AI, download it, pay the $20, start using it every day, and then you'll know what to do. If you're ever confused or not sure what to do, just ask Claude. It will literally tell you what you can do. You can take a picture of a job site, ask it questions, it will help guide you. All right, we'll finish with this one. My team is resistant to AI. How do I get them on board? One way to approach people on your staff or whoever that are kind of resistant to this stuff is just start incorporating it and don't talk about what you're doing. Like, don't even talk about that it's AI. It's just, this is how we do it now. And get them using it, because from what I've seen, I've never met anybody who started using AI and then was like, I'm not using this anymore. Like every single person I've ever met that started using AI for real started using it more and now has incorporated it into like tons of different aspects of their life. They use it to save time, they use it to be more productive, they use it to be better and to do more. So it's not just about like freeing up your time and doing less, it's about doing more and doing it better. And it's quite remarkable. So don't try to sell them on it. Just start incorporating it to what you're doing. Don't talk about it too much, and I think the adoption will probably take care of itself. I put out a video last week about using AI, and one of the examples of how I used AI in my business was helping me with my bookkeeping. And a lot of people, rightfully so, called out in the comments that it's risky to share that data with AI, with an AI cloud model like Claude or GPT or Gemini, Grok. They're all, you're sending data into a computer somewhere and then you're getting a response. And so people call out that, oh, it's risky to send your bookkeeping information out into some computer that you're not in control of. And I 100% agree. And I wanted to just talk about that for a minute. So in that particular example, I took a CSV, which is a spreadsheet. I downloaded my bank, like all my bank transactions. It's a spreadsheet from my bank, and I downloaded all the transactions from my bookkeeping software. And then I opened both of those spreadsheets up, and I deleted most of the columns because most of that information was irrelevant for what I was trying to do. All I was trying to do was to use AI to see if there were any transactions in one spreadsheet that didn't exist in the other, to help me make sure that every bank transaction was accurately accounted for in the bookkeeping, and that the bookkeeping didn't have any extra stuff that wasn't an actual bank transaction. So I didn't have to give it account numbers. I didn't have to give it most of the info. All it needed to have was a list of dates and a list of transactions, and that was enough to help me do what I was trying to do. And so I've been working with AI and data for a long time, and so it's kind of it's always in the back of my mind, like, what am I sharing? What do I need to share? What's happening here? For me personally, there's probably not too much information in my bookkeeping software that like is catastrophic if it somehow got leaked. Like if the company that does my bookkeeping software had a data breach, there's nothing really catastrophic in there. Like, sure, there's some private information, but like no one's really going to be able to do a whole lot with it. But that's not going to be the case for everybody, and that's just the case for me in this situation. And so we each have to be aware and responsible for our own data and the data of our customers and account numbers and all those kinds of things, which is why I can't stress enough that, like, I recommend everybody, like, get Claude, start using just regular Claude or GPT, whatever you like to use. I think Claude's the best today, so that's what I use. And start using it daily for little things and just start developing a feel for it. Because it's a new technology and it's a new skill set that you have to have. And for those of us coming out of like the physical reality construction world, like we're building stuff all day, we're not dealing with digital stuff all the time, like this isn't going to be second nature for you, but you have to learn it. This is a skill set that in 5 years, you know, there's going to be a big break between the people who don't know anything about how the digital world works and programming and data and all that, between them and the people who do understand this stuff. And the younger generation will come in taking this for granted and just knowing it like everyone's always, you know, like it's common knowledge. But for those of us who are alive and operating right now, like we have to learn it now. And it's just a skill. It's the cool thing about AI is, as long as you're willing to ask questions and read the answers and troubleshoot and work through things, you don't need any outside help. That's one reason why I try not to put out tutorials on exactly how to do things, because how I use this today is probably going to be different in a month from now. This technology changes so fast that there's no point telling you exactly what to do today, because next week it's going to be different. But what I can tell you is to start using it and start asking questions and start developing an understanding of how computer programs work, how data works. You know, you might not know what an API is. Go ask Claude what an API is. I think the people who are early adopters to this AI stuff, they're the people who are naturally curious, adventurous, and like building things. Like when ChatGPT came out a few years ago, and I got it immediately and I just started using it without a concern of using it right or wrong or whatever. Just started doing it. And when I figured out that it could help me build a computer program that I wanted, I did it. And I did that over and over and over again, hundreds of times over the last couple of years. And so now, like in some ways, like I have a lot of the knowledge that a computer programmer or a coder has, but I didn't get it from a classic education or taking courses or anything. I got it from mucking through it every day with AI and learning it as I go. Because every time I do something and I don't fully understand what's going on, I just tell Claude, explain this to me like I'm 5 years old. Or sometimes if I think I know what I'm talking about, I'll ask it to explain it like I'm 10 years old. But it will break the concepts down into a simple way that's easy to digest. And if I still don't get it, I'll just keep asking questions until I get it. And that is the biggest advice I can give to anybody in regards to this technology, is just start using it and use it to learn about how to use it more. And use your imagination. If you're not particularly creative, it might not be second nature to you, but just go in and ask it like, hey, I want to do something like this. How is that possible? Or would it be possible to do this thing that I'm thinking of? Like anything that happens on a screen is pretty much possible. Your imagination is the only limiting factor. And so using it every day, starting to develop an understanding of what you're doing, and then you can slowly start connecting it to things. Like I just connected it to one of my Gmail accounts. So now it can read all the emails in that Gmail account. I connected it to an account that I'm okay with the data being out there. I didn't connect it to my account that's associated with important things like bank accounts and things like that. Maybe I could and it would be fine, but I'm not willing to take the risk yet because I'm not comfortable with it. And so we each have to go through that process for ourselves and adopt it slowly. And it's funny to say slowly because it's moving so fast that the adoption's happening quick, but take it at your own pace and just experiment with it. The biggest mindset switch I think a lot of people need is, in the old days, you go to YouTube to find a tutorial on how to do something. With AI, you don't really do it that way. You just go get the AI app and you ask it what to do and how to do things, and then you work with it kind of like you would work with a person to like get closer to your goal. Because the fact of the matter is there's very few people on YouTube actually talking about utilizing it for real, because most people are just trying to make content and make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the technology is so different than it was a month ago that most of the content out there about specifics isn't relevant today. So moral of the story, you want to be careful with what you put into it. And the best way to figure out what's okay and what's not okay as far as utilizing AI is by doing it every day and just getting comfortable with the technology, developing the understanding and the skill set. I made a video the other day talking about how I'm using AI in my business, and it got a ton of attention, and I've had tons of people reaching out to me trying to get help with AI. And I've talked to a handful of them, and over just the last few days, I've realized the thing that seems to hold back people the most. And that thing is their ability to articulate and communicate what they really want the AI to do. So like for a long time, even before AI came out, there's been computer programmers, there's been coders. And the thing that coders always have to do is be able to really accurately articulate every single little micro step of a process. And if you're able to really fully understand a process, the one they always use in school when you're in a coding class or something is like how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it sounds like a really simple task, but when you actually boil it down to every single step, there's like tons of steps. And it's down to like, there's just so much more than you think. And when it comes to AI, like AI is amazing at doing it exactly what you tell it to do. But if you're not able to tell it exactly what you want, then you won't be able to get out of it what you're looking for. And I was talking to this guy the other day, and he had seen this video, and he's like, well, I want to do what you did. I want to pull all my data into one place and then be able to like have AI work with it. And I'm like, awesome. So, and I pulled out a document and I started laying out like, okay, well, let's name all of the data sources and what they are. And like we named a few apps and we started talking about it, and then he stopped me and he's like, wait, this is taking a really long time. If I have to do all this, like I'm probably just not going to do this. And I was like, okay, well, that's the only way to do it, because you can't just like take this really vague idea you have in your head and like beam it to the AI and expect the AI to understand what you want. Like you have to really narrow it down to the exact details. And I think the reason I was able to pick it up quicker than most is because I've spent 10 years communicating things that need to be done and writing out processes for people through written mediums, through emails, Slack messages, text messages. I've spent a lot of time telling people what to do through text, and I've learned over the years that if I'm not specific, I don't get the outcome that I want. And that skill directly translates to AI, because if you're able to accurately describe exactly what you want to happen, or at least what you want at the end, the AI can get it there. And as AI improves, you have to be less articulate about the steps and more articulate about just what is the end result you want. And the new models, if you can just be super clear about what you want, a lot of times they can find their way to getting you what you want. But if you haven't been working through a computer for a long time, then you probably don't have the skill set, and most things in your company live inside your head and they live inside other people's heads. And so the purpose of this video is just to shine some light on the fact that that is like one of the biggest things that will hold you back, is not having this stuff written out. And these days, lucky for you, you don't have to type it all out. You don't have to even know how to type. As long as you can talk through your ideas, you can use AI to get you there. But you don't start by building the stuff. You start by saying, hey, AI, I want you to ask me as many questions as you need to get a complete picture of what I'm working with and what I'm trying to do. And then you can proceed. And once you go through that phase, and it might take you a day, a month, a year, is probably an ongoing thing. But once you get that piece of like all this stuff out of your head down on paper, so to speak, then you can start to work with it, and the AI can take all of that context and actually do something with it. So, you know, you've heard of writing out SOPs, writing out processes, that kind of stuff. That is basically what this is. You have to figure out how to get everything out of your brain in an organized way to the AI, and then what you can do with it is pretty much only limited by your imagination. But most people are missing that first step, so hopefully that helps you realize that that could be you. The other day I made a video rambling about some AI stuff that I've been doing, and I almost didn't publish it because I thought it was just a ramble, but it's becoming one of the most popular videos on the channel. And that's because AI is the new big thing and everybody's really interested in it, but it's so new that like nobody really understands it yet. And I've been using it daily for a couple of years now, and you know, everything that I do on a computer now is through AI. And so I spend a lot of time thinking about it. And the other day I was pondering, you know, what's going on here? We have all these people like me who 2 years ago, like I didn't know anything about programming. I knew some things about computers, but I was like a complete newbie. Like I couldn't code to save my life. And an AI has enabled me to, at this point, build tons of cool stuff, and at this point I'm like overhauling my entire business. Like it's affecting every little bit and piece of what we do. And I was thinking about just like what's happening here as far as like me, other people, and this AI technology. And so I drew this little diagram, and I'm going to walk you through it, and that I think it might just help us all like think about this some more and see what's going on, because all this AI stuff is happening in the digital space. Like it's all on computers, it's all on screens, most of it's happening off a screen, like we don't see it. And there's a lot of like programmers and super technical people out there who get it, but for most of us who spent most of our lives in like the physical world, like we don't really get it. And so on one end of this, we've got the novice programmer. That would be basically me a couple years ago. And then on the other end, we have the expert programmer. So somebody who doesn't know how to code, somebody who's been coding a really long time. And on this continuum, I've got this little continuum here. We've got these technologies. So this is like when ChatGPT got really big a couple days ago. It started making this like programming, this technical computer stuff, it just started making it easier. And all of a sudden these expert programmers on this end were able to do so much more because they had this chat GPT. And then Claude came out, and Claude was better at coding than GPT, and it made things even easier. And what I see, or what I've seen, is the expert programmer, or this whole realm of expertise is just kind of moving. It's all getting easier. And then you have all these newbies like me using these technologies, and we're getting smarter. And so we're all kind of converging towards the middle. And not too long ago, like Opus 4.5 came out. That was the new Claude model. It's 4.6 now. But that made things even easier. And by that point, February of this year, like I was probably somewhere around here on the continuum. And I think a lot of people like me were here. And that's why when Opus came out, all of a sudden things got easier to a point that whatever expertise we had developed became exponentially more relevant. And we were enabled to start building programs, applications, doing all sorts of things that we were never able to do before. And you like watching this, most of my audience are contractors, people working in the physical world all the time, not on computers all the time. And so you're probably like somewhere over here still. But the good news is it's getting easier and everything is moving towards you. But there is some kind of like magic line somewhere. That's what this dotted line is. We'll call it the magic line, where there's like, it's not ever gonna get any easier than that. Like there's always gonna be some level of understanding or some like level of skill you have to have with AI to be able to play in this world of being able to leverage the technology to create programs and applications that do things for you. A lot of people are stuck over here where you're just using the raw AI. You're giving it some kind of input and you're taking an output, and you're seeing how much you can do with that. But so much of the value that people like me are getting right now is because I'm using the AI to actually program, to code things, to create applications and software for myself that do like tons of crazy, really cool stuff. In that last video I did, I talked about how I took all of the data from all of the apps that we use at my company, and I moved it into a database. And a lot of people in the comments were asking, well, how did you give Claude that database, or how did Claude move your data? And that's a good question, because actually Claude didn't move the data. Claude helped me write programs, computer programs, that moved my data. And Claude helped me set up the database that stored all of the data. And so the AI isn't technically doing all of this stuff. AI is just enabling people like me to do stuff that was possible before AI. And I think that's a big key point that a lot of folks haven't grasped yet. So I want you to grasp it now. As time goes on, a lot of people are going to just become programmers. They're going to become developers, and they will have never typed a line of code in their life, but they will have been enabled by AI tools to be able to create software, create applications. And in a few years, it will become so easy that you'll need the minimal level of understanding to do it. But I believe there will always be this magic line. There will always be a certain level of understanding required to get the most out of this, which is why my advice to everybody is always just start using these tools. Like start using Claude, Opus, start asking it how you can do things. Like if you have an idea, put it in. How could this be done? And you just have to start learning it. And whether or not you should learn a lot of things is going to become a more important question as time goes on. For example, right now it's easier than ever to build a website and do some kind of basic marketing. And so the level of skill required to get started on that is far less than it used to be. But the fact remains that to get the most out of it, you still have to spend a lot of time doing it. And so where is your time best served? I think right now, as far as AI is concerned, your time is best served just experimenting with it and playing around with it, like literally play around with it. Get Claude, talk to it, ask it questions, learn, like when it explains things, you know, read it. If you're looking for like a magic button that just, you know, makes you a ton of money without you having to understand what it does, probably never going to happen. But this little continuum diagram helps me understand what's going on. Like the whole realm of software development is becoming easier the more this AI progression takes place. And regular people like you and me who never programmed anything in our lives are moving this direction. We're getting smarter, we're learning with these tools, we're being enabled, and we're able to do 1,000 times more and move 1,000 times faster than we could just a few years ago. And the people taking advantage of that are the ones who are saying how amazing AI is, and the people who aren't are the ones saying, oh, AI is overblown, it's just not gonna, it doesn't matter, it's gonna go away. So let me know what you think of that in the comments. If you think I'm full of shit, tell me. But tell me where you are on the spectrum, and you know, help me understand even more than I do now. Thanks for watching. Rory Silva says, hey Chuck, you can use a fully loaded Mac Mini M4 or wait for the M5 to run large local models privately at $0 per month. So I do have a fully loaded M4. I also have a PC with like a NVIDIA 5090 graphics card in it. So I'm able to run like pretty decent local models. And so far the ones that I tested just aren't anywhere near as good as Claude Opus. And so that's why I use Opus, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on the local models. I think in a year or two, we're gonna have like Opus level models that run locally, and I will 1000% be doing it that way. But for now, I'm just practicing proper data hygiene and making sure that I don't upload any passwords or anything to Claude, but it's able to do everything I need right now. Trey says, anyone can spin up a website in less than 10 minutes with Claude Code and build automations without realizing a lawsuit is ready to happen when it goes in the real world with no compliance or ISO regulation implemented. Yeah, this is something I've thought about a lot, because as the owner of a company who sells websites, my first thought with all this AI stuff is like, okay, AI is just going to replace us all like in 2 months. And in some ways, I think that's true, but in other ways not. And so a good analogy, at least I think, is like compare somebody who's hammering nails with a hammer versus somebody who's using a nail gun. A nail gun allows you to install a lot more nails a lot faster than anybody with a hammer, even those people who are super fast at it. But a homeowner with a nail gun is not going to build a house better than a contractor with a hammer. But imagine the contractor with the nail gun. And so the analogy is like, yes, it's easier than ever to build like an average or mediocre website, 100%. But the experts have the same tools. And so the websites and the marketing they're doing are just 10 times better and faster than they were before. And so if you use AI to do what was working a year ago, you're not going to keep up with the people using AI to do what they're capable of doing these days. So besides the whole regulation and like possible lawsuit and compliances thing, a contractor, like a regular person who doesn't know how to build websites, they will be able to learn and to do it a lot faster than before, but the real results are still going to go to the people who know what they're doing, if that makes sense. The Matt Simmons asks, what's this database that Claude is using? Is it something you created, like one big file drawer? What did you do to set up your database for Claude to reference? So I used a Postgres database. And if you don't know what that is, go ask Claude, because that's what I did. You know, I asked Claude, hey, how can I do what I'm trying to do? How can I give you access to all this? And it said, well, you need a database. And so I asked it, well, what are my options for databases? And it gave me a whole bunch of options. And I read about it and I learned about it. And I ended up going with Postgres because it's one of the most robust options, one that used to be only used by large corporations who like could handle the technology. But with AI at your side, anybody can spin up a Postgres database in no time. It doesn't mean that I am not telling you to go spin up a database really quick, put all of your data in it, and then give AI access. You can do that, but there's risks associated. And if you don't understand the risks, then you should spend time figuring that out. How, you might ask? Go ask Claude. What are the risks? What's the proper way to do this? Sometimes I like to ask it, what would a computer engineer expert database admin do? And it'll tell me, and then I'll do it that way. And so I've learned a lot of what I know about security, databases, just all of this stuff. I learned it from asking Claude and doing it and testing things out and trying it and deleting it and trying it again and deleting it. And it's just something, if you want to learn this stuff, you can. It's never been easier, but there's no skipping that stage. Like, you need to learn and understand this stuff, or you're going to probably get yourself in trouble, end up sending nudes to the president or something. Don't do that. Cynthia says, I just don't understand what you mean by you plugged Claude into your bookkeeping software. How do you get AI to see your database? Is it an upload? Is it granting permissions? Is it syncing? I don't know what you mean. So the best advice I could give anybody who has this question is to just go ask Claude or GPT, whatever you're using. Like, you could literally just type this in and it will give you an answer that helps you move towards a solution. As far as how I gave AI or Claude access to my bookkeeping, in one situation I downloaded a CSV spreadsheet from my bank and another one from the bookkeeping software. I deleted most of the stuff in there and left a list of dates and transactions, and then I put it all into Claude and I asked Claude to help me figure out if there was anything missing in either sheet. So in that situation, I grabbed the data myself and I put it into Claude. Very controlled, very safe way to do it. I knew exactly what Claude was getting. One and done. Another method is to use an API key and create a program that lets Claude actually use an API to go into the bookkeeping software. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then this is probably a little above your pay grade and you don't want to venture into this yet. But you can ask Claude or your AI what this means and what the risks are, and then decide what to do from there. So there's multiple ways to do it. I also mentioned in that video a database. So this is like a middle ground. I didn't want to give Claude access to the actual bookkeeping software because there's a whole lot of data in there. And so I created a program or an app that takes select data out of the bookkeeping software and puts it onto my computer in a database. I could have put it into a spreadsheet. I could have put it anywhere. I put it into a database. And then I could give Claude access to that database. And similar to the first example, I know what's in that database. It's not everything. It's just the data that I want Claude to work with. And so that's like a middle ground that's easier than, maybe not easier to set up, but it's more efficient than me grabbing spreadsheets and feeding them into Claude. Now I just have this database that stays up to date on certain information from my bookkeeping, and Claude's able to work with it. So there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, but those are 3 of them. And as always, go ask AI how this stuff works. Ask it to explain it to you like you're 5 years old, and just start learning this stuff. This morning I was doing a podcast with the Waterwell Journal, and we were talking about how knowledge and skills are passed down from generation to generation. And like, as the owner of a marketing company, we do so much of our work through a computer. And for the last 2 years, I've been on the cutting edge of AI and like everything AI. And at this point, almost everything my company, my team and I do goes through AI one way or another. It allows us to produce things at a much higher quality and a much higher quantity than ever before. And one thing that I've noticed is I find myself doing a lot of things that we just would never have done before. It's not that they weren't possible. Like, a great example is we manage about 150 websites for our clients. And yesterday, from my phone, I designed and built a tool that scans all of these websites every single day, compares what is on those sites to a list of standards that we have, and finds any way that those websites don't meet our standards. And it can run every day, and when it finds problems, it puts a ticket into the team. Hey, go check this out. This might be an issue. And this is something that could have been created before, not by me, because I don't know how to code, but a development team could have spent, a few months maybe trying to building this. And I'm sure there's companies out there that have something like that. I built it myself in an afternoon, and the next day I'm already using it. And so this is an example of somebody doing something that nobody really would have done before because it was just so much work. But now one guy's doing it, and this is happening all over the place. And as I was explaining this on this podcast, the kind of the issue we were talking about is how older generations are retiring, and they're just leaving, and they're taking all this knowledge with them. And people are desperate to find mechanisms to pass down this knowledge and this experience. And it made me think about a few years ago, I'm the person at my remodeling company who is lead certified, meaning if we're working on a house pre-1971, I have to go test the paint for lead. If there's lead, everyone on the team needs to follow this detailed process and document all this stuff. And me, being a digital marketer guy who knows how to do web stuff, I used the platform called Go High Level and created a video course showing exactly what we wanted our team to do it. I had each person go through, take the course, take some quizzes, and then I had the documentation proving that I had actually trained everybody to do this, which is one of the requirements of the EPA. So I did that because I already had those skills, but that's not something that your average contractor or average business owner in general is ever going to do because they don't have that skill. And so they probably don't even think about it. But what AI is doing is it's bringing all of this potential or all of these activities, it's just bringing them to our fingertips, because you can literally do a lot of that just by telling an AI what you want. Hey AI, I want to have a training course to train this thing, and it can help you navigate it, and it can help you do a lot of things. In a year from now, you'll probably just be able to record a video on your phone and then press stop, and the AI will edit it and put it wherever you want, and you won't even have to look at it again. And I can see in the future there's just going to be a lot of people that never would have done that kind of stuff before are going to be doing that. And that's one way that this knowledge is going to be passed down. If we could have more people making educational content from all these obscure trades, like water well drillers, most people don't even know that is an actual thing. But in a few years from now, we could have a ton of water well drillers all just showing what they're doing, talking about it, and having that information curated, edited, and put into organized segments or whatever, and enable knowledge to be passed down that way. And so I make this video just to kind of highlight these ideas. It's not about the specifics I'm talking about. I'm not saying that you should go build an app to scan websites, and I'm not saying that you should go build a video course. But AI is enabling regular people to do things that even super skilled people would have never considered doing before. And I want to stress to everyone who watches my stuff to just start experimenting with AI. A lot of people are scared of it. A lot of people think that it's unethical. I'm scared of it. I think parts of it are unethical. I think it might murder all of us someday. I've seen Terminator. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to use it to add as much value to the world as I can while I can. And so check it out. I use one called Claude. There's a whole bunch of them. But really what it comes down to is it's a skill. All of these different skills, creating courses, videos, websites, knowledge bases, all these things used to require a specific skill set. Now all it requires is you being able to talk to an AI and tell it what you want, and being able to articulate your ideas and understand what's going to happen next. And the only way to learn that is to actually just start doing it over and over and over again. Everyone I know who's actually taken my advice and just went and asked Claude is now using it all the time to just be a lot more valuable in their life and their career. So check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching. Just want to let you guys know that my team and I help companies like yours navigate marketing, get more customers, and make more money. So if you're interested in talking to us, find the link in the description, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.